Hello, good night, everybody. This is the Meeting of the Minds podcast. This is episode 17, and today's episode is entitled The Complexities of Manhood in Modern Day Society. Tonight, I got with me Trini, The Upgrade, and Caroline. So, we're about to jump right into it. For those of you that are just joining us, we are available on Facebook and YouTube. But for whatever reason, Twitter does not allow me to go live because I do not have a pro account, which makes no sense. But anyway, we're going to get started. Here's the first question. What does it mean to be a man?
Mm, mm, mm.
All right, brother, I'm going to let you handle this one.
Oh, me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Grandpa Moan.
What does it mean to be a man? Wow, that's a loaded question. What's it like to be a man? What's it mean to be a man? It means to be. It means that you do a lot, and your good works will often go overlooked. It oftentimes means that people won't appreciate who you were until you're dead.
Mm,
It also means that sometimes we have to suffer in silence just to keep the peace within the home, because
mm,
the saying goes, happy wife, happy life. And it honestly, I have a huge problem with that because it completely just dismisses who this man and what his job is and his role within the household. um Listen, we are often the most hated in the world. We are the most used, and we are taught to suck it up. And I figured out why, because it's in the Bible. The Most High will chastise his children and who he loves the most. See, women, they got their curse shortly after they ate the apple, but no one really ever asks, okay, so what about Adam?
my man.
Never asked about, so what is what was his.
Nothing.
Okay, so the woman's curse, all of y'all over worry, y'all overthink. Yes, y'all are nurturers, but there's a lot of curses like with the period cramps and all that. Y'all never felt that before until then. The menstruals, y'all barely felt that until then. Y'all smelled like flowers, a whole bunch of stuff. But no one looked at what the
Massive
men had to go through after. Cause yeah, the women they over worry, but we gotta deal with that.
Mm.
The woman has an attitude and she's sassy and just something's wrong with her, but we got to deal with that at the end of the day.
More specifically, part of Adam's curse was he had to work harder with the earth to produce fruit.
Exactly.
Mm.
So what used to easily be, like seeds, sow it and it'll grow. It ain't like that no more. Sometimes your crop won't grow. Maybe it's in too much shade. Maybe the sun is hitting it the wrong way. We have to work extra hard. And if you know the book like we know the book now, hey, melanated people, we got to work hard for everything that we do.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what it means to be a man. It means to be the head, but as the head, you get chastised more because the blessings flow from the head down. So you got the Father, you got the Son, Holy Spirit, heavenly. Okay, now you got head, the wife, which is the neck, and then you got the body. Everybody else that dwells within. What it means to be a man is to make some pretty tough decisions, and no one's gonna like those decisions, but
Nope.
that's what comes with it. We, okay, take the presidency. Technically, the president's role is to be the commander in chief of the military. Nothing more and nothing less. Everything else is the opinions of other people, and he has to sign it. We have to make some tough decisions. I don't want to beat my children sometimes, but hey, there's but so many times I'm going to speak. I may not want to say no in certain cases, but I know if I don't say no, you're going to end up spoiled. You can cry all you want. I may not want to hear you cry, but it's for your benefit. There's a lot that comes with a man that many really don't understand. A lot of men suffer in silence. Some may want to commit suicide, but if we think about doing that, then no one thinks to ask, Dag, let me talk to him, what's wrong? But instead, you're just so selfish. You just don't love no one but yourself. And it's like, wow, what about my mental? That's fine. That's cool. It's all right. It's tough. It's rough. And it gets tiring. We're always being the bigger person. There is no chance for us to be emotionally present or give emotions because I want you to talk more. Like you don't tell me nothing. Like you always talking about your homeboys, but you can't say nothing about talk about us. And then we come out and say these things like, babe, like yo, money's getting tight, and the light bill and the gas bill, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna need you to hurry up and get your life together because I ain't with that. You just like ain't with what? Like you ain't gotta be crying like that. Like yo, I don't like that. That's not manly. Like man up. If we get cheated on, we're always the ones to be told, well, hey,
It's your
dog, you
fault.
should have seen it coming.
He was working too much.
We're working too much, but if we don't work, we're bums. And now, if you have a 9 to 5 job, that makes you a bum now. And there's a list of restaurants that we can't take women to. It,
He's
like,
kicking
what
out.
do you do? What do you do?
What do you do?
Martin Luther King was a good man until everybody figured out he cheated on his wife. All of a sudden, everything this man ever did for this country and the blacks in this country, he was never a good man. Like I don't understand. Like how?
We're thrown out.
I don't get it. And Chris Rock said it best. Us men are loved under the condition that we provide something.
Yep. Yep.
And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm not saying my shorty does it all the time, but understand something. I understand I could do more. But when you're in my field, like I work at some place called Wedgwood, and it's active gunfire every other day. I pray for some moments that I don't have to see gunfire. I don't want to have to tell this person's mom, hey, we shot your son because he made a mistake, or I tried to reason with him and he just wasn't going. And he pulled out his gun, and what happened after that, you already know. It's rough. It's tough. And I come in the house at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and when she's ready to be like, "Oh my God, baby, I missed you," and then blah 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 blah, and I'm just sitting there like, "Yo, it ADHD maximum overload. I can't receive all of this. Give me a moment." And sometimes asking for a moment is asking for too much because it's like, well, I was ready to love you right now, and you didn't want to receive it. Now I got an attitude. And now we're
Yeah.
just left sitting there like, how the hell did we get here?
How did this happen? How
I
did
I
this happen?
I
I
just
tried to avoid this.
I tried to I was being nice. I want ice cream after I tried everything and it didn't work. And so it gets rough. It gets tough. However, as men, it is important that this is why we have to cling to God so much. Because we may not be that natural nurturer, but if you pray hard enough for that Holy Spirit to touch you, she will give you guidance on how to communicate with your fellow lady. But that's a complete different subject for another time. It's hard being a man, but and just that statement alone, it just gives you insight on how hard it is because you want us to provide, you want us to give you the clothes off our backs, money, materialistic things. It's like we get used and we get sucked up, we get sucked up, we get sucked up. And how TD Jake said it, we get swallowed, and then after that, y'all don't need us no more.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We get
I'm sorry.
swallowed up, we get ate up, we get chewed up, and we get spit out. And once we are spit out, it's like, all right, well,
Swallow.
I'm
Okay, so you talking a lot about the interactions between men and women. I want to ask you a question about what about the messages between men that they internalize. So between a man and his father, men and their friends,
even
a man and
even
his
that
son,
even that gets
because
rough within itself.
you could talk a whole lot about what women do now, what mothers have an impact on their son, however. But I've seen that there's an impact between, if I'm friends with my homeboy and homeboy's cheating on his wife, I'm gonna still be his friend and even be his alibi. You know what I'm saying? Like that, those things have an impact on the type of man you are, the kind of friends you hang around, the how you carry yourself.
Which is
So
also true. And I'm not.
you
Oh, go
can't
ahead. Go ahead.
you can't just say, well, the type of restaurants you want to go to and this and that, whatever. Let's talk about like what messages you learned as a child, what you internalized when you were in high school. The more pooms you got, the more like popular you were.
So,
Peer pressure, all them kind of things.
so,
Hey, who's this?
Yes,
Yes,
We got a full
brother
panel.
Ray.
brother Ray. Oh
what's
my
going
goodness.
on, right?
What's up,
My
man?
brother.
So
How
that's
you
that,
been?
that's my question on the floor.
Good,
So
good.
you talked a little bit about what being a man is, but how do you become one? Because I'm hearing there's a difference between being a man and being a male.
It's true. It's true. There's a huge difference
Because as
because
the one woman on here, you can't just women
I
did this
wasn't.
and
It wasn't
women
going to
that
be
and how to
all.
communicate with your lady. You
Let me
know,
answer that
It
question.
goes beyond that. Is what basically what I was trying to get
it
at
starts from when
because
you was in your mother's womb, came out, all the messages you receive from your culture to your nature.
well,
You
you
know,
got to be careful because not everybody has had that type of upbringing. So let's say it does start in the womb, right? You have some males out here who pretty much have no guidance and are very aggressive to women because after the mom decided she wanted to have the child, things happen to where I can't handle this no more. And so now that child is left with just his father and nothing but masculine energy has been put into him. But suffice to say, being a man, it can be a very beautiful thing. A very beautiful thing because
Mm,
what you have never experienced in life, you then get to internalize that, accept it for what it is, and be like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that my child, son or daughter, never experiences that. You are in control as a man of your life, so you can also choose to be in your child's life. And even with the upbringing, it's crazy how God works. I had plenty of they were crazy, but I had plenty of good male role models. From the streets to the church, even within my own household. I ain't gonna cap, Brother Buckner, he was a father figure to us all. My godfather, Mike Spades, he taught me everything from how to honestly, how to lay the roof down, how to build siding, how to build a whole boiler from scratch. Taught me about the hot wire, the low wire, what wires go here and there and build up a manifest and how to do certain things. So it's a lot
let's
being a
not
man.
forget your grandfather.
Especially my grandfather, man. What can I say about him? He's one of the reasons why I am pushing, law enforcement today. He was a high-ranking officer for he was a lieutenant for the NYPD, and he met the commissioner and shook hands with him, and one of the greatest role models I've ever witnessed in my lifetime because he taught me how to never leave home, even if you do make a mistake. He taught me how to purposely piss off your wife when you're in the basement and you just hit the boiler hard as heck with a wrench. And now she upstairs and, oh goshly, but yours breaking something. And me and him downstairs and we cracking up. And then he would come upstairs and he would give her, she flowers and she would bring up some food and here's up or some shot and whatever. Like, yo, my grandfather was that dude. He was always working on somebody's car. Everybody knew him as, hey Charlie, what going on? What going on? Like he taught me so like many life lessons. Like here's one of his sayings, and then I yield the floor. When I was pissed off about how other people's opinions didn't really match mine, my grandfather would only say this. You know, you get your coffee or your tea, whichever one you come first. Others drink their tea hot, you drink yours cool. And that simply means However they act and they react and whatever, that's not your responsibility for how they act. Focus on you and your immediate family, and everything else will pretty much fall into play. I yield.
All right, now we gotta continue to move on to answer this question. So, upgrade, Caroline, and then Brother Ray. Upgrade, you're up next, brother.
Traditionally, I believe it used to be about strength, responsibility, and leadership. And modern, it's more being vulnerable and equality and uh, demasculization. And so, one thing, in my opinion, I want to distinguish is between males and men, because real men don't do certain things. Like how Caroline brought up, your man is cheating and you know, so you rocking with him. It depends on it depends on the situation and the person, to where it's like, if you know the situation, you're like, I, because sometimes literally a lot of women in marriages, they're literally depriving their men of sex, doing it on purpose. So what is he then supposed to go do? And so he's done exhausted both hands. He done exhausted toys and all that. And most whatchamacallit shops are for women anyway. Most sex shops are for women anyway. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it comes to a point where, what then does that man do? Some men, you know what I'm saying, like, they could be like, nah, you know what I'm saying, like, fix what's at home and make sure at home is good. Make sure our home is fine. You got others who will sit there, ask the situation first. Hey, what's going on, bro? You good? Now, mind you, knowing a whole year or two of what's going on, homie ain't have sex in 2 years. Bro, about to go on bro mode. Bros before hoes. It's about to go on bro mode, because women do that all the time.
Mm.
And so it's either you catch up with it, or you be the fool that's out there, and while your woman's sitting there cheating because somebody's having sex. Somebody is having sex. In a marriage, if two people are having sex, somebody is having sex. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So reality has to set in. Males are There are a lot of grown males walking outside right now who don't know themselves, don't know what's going on, and so they're out here just trying to figure out what the world is. And in reality, mothers can't teach boys how to be men. You can't, because when you really look at it, look at society right now. Look at how it is right now. When you have you have most guys right now looking like girls. Ain't no real man gonna sit there and tell his son, "Hey, son, go ahead and put that dress on. Go ahead and wear them heels and that makeup." Ain't no real man doing that. So in reality, we've lost the strength, the responsibility, the leadership, and we've poured it, because there's no real man in the house. We've poured it to, do whatever. Then you have a lot of men, you have a lot of males who are fathers and who really didn't even teach their sons, and it's just a repeated pattern. Didn't teach their sons how to be real men, so they out here sitting there beating up on women and all that, because they don't know any better. They weren't taught how to regulate their emotions. They weren't taught how to sit there and be like, "Hey, listen, let me sit down and let me relax, and let me go walk outside." It's not, you know what I'm saying? Because real men know how to handle women. Real men know how to handle women. So that we're not gonna get no attitude. We're not gonna get upset. When we do, we really pissed off at something. But if not, we're gonna sit there and do what Trinity's grandfather did. Just do dumb shit. Just to get you mad. Knowing how to circumvent how your feelings and your emotions are. You know what I'm saying? I feel like manhood has diminished in these last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, these generations are weird to me. You go to work and nobody wants to work. These guys sitting there complaining, like literally complaining like girls, talking about, "Oh man, I don't even know why I'm out here." I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Mm.
I be seeing some people. I be like, "Yo, you don't sit there and try to upgrade yourself in no sense of nah, man. I'm just stuck in this sense." I look at older guys; they stuck in their ways, not trying to grow up and change. You know what? Y'all stay there. But at the end of the day, men are men are looked at by their accomplishments, by their deeds, by their character, by their morals. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit there and say that for necessarily males or boys because boys don't do nothing. What does a little boy do and create and make for the world? Unless he's a genius. Nothing. Just like a little girl. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to manhood, manhood comes with responsibility. It comes with leadership. It comes with strength. How many guys out here right now walking around outside don't know how to handle themselves? Society is so lax that people don't even know how to handle themselves outside properly. That's why Trinity got to sit there and deal with people shooting every day because nobody want to sit there either shoot the fair one, unless you getting jumped and it's bad, then I might teach you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna shoot the fair one, I'm picking up anything that I see. I'm from New York. We ain't playing out here. But I ain't gonna teach you yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's different now. It's different than what it used to be. And so you have little small groups of men coming together, you know what I'm saying, trying to get the community together in different places. But when you're watching social media all day and you're watching what's outside, it's the total opposite. When you go to your therapist and your therapist is telling you to feel how you want to feel, therapist, you know what I'm saying? Like it gets to the point where we're losing that. Fathers are there are many fathers who are not in the home for various reasons. And so that's a problem because there's stats that show that single fathers actually do a better job than single mothers or both of them in the house. And the reason why both of them in the house is because some people are sit there and be like, oh, well, I had my father in the house. Yeah, but that don't mean nothing. Your father didn't do shit. Your father ain't nobody. Why the fuck do I have to respect somebody who did nothing? Literally a bum on the street. And every time you talk to me, oh, but my father did this when I was younger. So then be what your father did. Because as a man, if you're a real man, you are whatever you've done and you built within yourself, and other people respect you and they see you for that. Then that's what you build on. You don't have to have nobody sitting there telling you, oh, what my father did, or what my brother did. Your brother a whole crackhead out on the street. What do I care about what your brother did? Oh, what your brother did back in high school? What did 50 Cent say? In Wankster. Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the fuck happened to you? You know what I'm saying? What happened to you? So it's not like nobody's sitting there. You have a lot of males running outside complaining about a whole bunch of stuff because in reality, like what Trini said, yes, it is hard. It is hard for a man. Definitely a black man. We all the way at the bottom. We got to work 10 times hard to sit there where people get. Right now, women have billions of dollars in loans. Black men ain't got shit. And everybody's still telling you, hey, you still got to do X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying all women, you know what I'm saying, because I've met women who sit there and understand the struggle of black men today, and are like, damn, I see that you're still a leader. I see that you're still a provider because provision doesn't mean money. Provision also means guidance. Provision also means protection. Even though protection is separate, it's also something that you're providing. Because why would I give you my time? As a man, if a woman is with you and she doesn't respect you, you shouldn't even be with her. If there are things that you're saying to protect her and she can't even listen, bye, get out the door. Because then she's not respecting you as a man anyway. You're not her play toy. If you're walking down the street and she's on the wrong side and you pull her over and she's like, what are you doing? I want to walk on this side. Goodbye.
Mercy.
If we going into a store, and mind you, you're dressed a certain way. So now I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'll give you an example. One time I was in the car with a shorty, and she said that she wanted to go to get liquor for her and her friend. Had nothing to do with me. So I'm getting nothing from this. Okay. So now she gets out the car. When she gets out, she noticed I don't turn off the car. So now she's quiet. She gets mad. When I turn off the car, she hops back in and she's like, Carlins. Literally, my hand went like this to her face. I mushed her. Dead ass, mushed her. I said, you're going to learn today. I said, because the way that you're dressed, I now have to sit there and have to guard and watch every dude to sit there and try to not talk to you. While you're going to walk in there frolicking like you want some fucking island or some shit, just doing whatever you want to go do. No. And I said, because you were mad before you got out the car, you were sitting there and you were like, oh well, he's not gonna do what he has to go do. No, I could have let you still go, and anything could have happened. Now I'm responsible for you with me as a man. So now I got to explain to your parents and your brother, like, damn, she was with me, and this happened because that's on me. I don't want that as a man. So instead, I was like, listen, when we go inside, I'm gonna make sure that you're safe and you are all right. But every time that we go outside, I protect you. And you got to understand that, because if you sit there and you make one mistake, you're not going to pay no child support for my kids. You're not going to call my kids on their birthday and say, listen, I want to thank you for what your father did for me. And he was a man and he stood up for me one day when I was sitting there dressed the way I was dressed. So I was sitting there acting all up and in a fight insinuated, and he protected my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, people have to think outside of that. And right now, a lot of men don't, because they're just all in their feelings. They don't know what to do. Society is beating the fuck out of them. They don't know what to do. Men need to know how to control their emotions. Males don't. That's why most males crash out. You don't sit there and hear people say that's a fuck man. No, it's a fuck boy. Oh, that's my baby daddy. They don't sit there and say because mind you, when a woman's talking about her man, she don't say that's my baby daddy. She says, that's my man. Even when they have kids, that's my man. That's the father of my child. There's no disrespect in the tone that she's using. So a lot of males need to grow up and they need to choose to become men. It's a choice. Just like for females, it's a choice to become a woman. And just like right now, for some odd, strange reason, and people could choose to be women, it's a choice. It's a choice. It's really a choice. Males have to choose to be men, and men have to choose to be in their children's lives or be in other children's lives to teach them how to become men. Because, and it's simple sayings. You know what I'm saying? Simple things like, ain't nobody gonna come save you. Nobody gonna save you. When you think like that, like there's a quote that says, train up a child until they're 7, and I teach you the man or the woman. So when you train up a child until they're 7 to be responsible, to be patient, to be hardworking, to have work ethic, that it will never leave that child. When they become a man, it will sit there and it will show in their actions of what they do. But I think now, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, look at society now, where we're having a pushback, and every time you have a pushback, things get canceled, people get canceled. So, what it is to be a man again, what it used to be, strength, responsibility, and leadership. What it is now is just being real vulnerable and wanted to be equal and wanted to just give up who you are as a man. No, women love men. Women love a man. When he says no, she loves that. She really likes it. She likes it when you tell her shut up sometimes. She wants to hear it because she knows she's acting up. It's science. It's balance. You can do it all you want to, Caroline. Now, mind you, we can make social contracts because here's what happened. I made a social contract in my last marriage, and the social contract was we're not going to call each other our names. We're not going to when we're angry or we're mad, we're not going to try to belittle each other, and so or stop from somebody else talking. So shut up and all that. So if you build those in that, then yes, those are built. But again, sometimes some females want to hear just shut up. You're doing too much. Sit down. Sit down. I digress from you.
All right, Caroline and then Ray. Keep your responses under 3 minutes, please.
My bad.
Caroline,
I feel like rocket science. But anyway,
All right, thank you, Ray. Appreciate you.
My bad.
I'm not a man, clearly, but my thought process of what a man is, I feel like it's inspired by biblical principles. So you have intercession, leadership, provision, protection. Um, so a man is supposed to leave his mother and father, cleave to his wife. Boundaries. Um, a man is supposed to take care of his household, love his wife as Christ loves the church. So a man for me is God fearing. He prays. He knows how to manage his money. He's respectful. He prays for you. He don't put hands on you. Um, he listens to you. Um, he's not looking for a mother. He's looking for a partner. Somebody that holds you accountable. I promise y'all. I'm not like these women on the internet, but you know, when somebody look at you and they're like, Caroline, maybe I should not. You know, that's not healthy. But definitely having that kind of man in the household or in your life, period, definitely creates or provides stability. Because when you have a bunch of women around each other, nobody gets time for that. And also, you definitely need that kind of man around if you're raising a son, so that young man can become a man just like that. Was that under 2 minutes? Hope it was.
Yeah, just about. I love your response, Brother Ray.
So a man, in my opinion, is one of the 4 R's. The first one is respectful. The second one is reliable. The third one is responsible. And the fourth one is a realist. Now, it doesn't matter, to me, it doesn't matter if the man is married or single. Once you fall into that category, or one of those categories, for me anyway, I think that that's what a man is. I think sometimes we get caught up in like different labels and different aspects of what a man is, because I don't want to be sexist, but sometimes we go across like what women say a man is. Like a woman could say, oh, a man is one who is comfortable in the sexuality. It's cool.
I hate that.
Cool. No problem.
I hate that. I hate hearing
no issues with that, right? But then it changes every like 30 days. Oh, a man is one who wears a dress. Okay, fine. A man is someone who's comfortable wearing nail polish. Okay, fine. And it always gets like redefined after a while. And then, because I know for me, I've often wondered, like, why does it have to change all the time? Like, I'm a male, you know, I have a penis, it works, you know, and all that other stuff. And it's like, to me, it's like I shouldn't let somebody define who I am as a man, right? We talk about the differences between a male and a man, and I get that part too. But to be completely honest, sometimes I think the reason why a lot of men lack a lot of the things that you all have mentioned is because we don't have community anymore. And a lot of us are kind of isolated. And I started talking to a lot of young bulls that I know, and they will tell you that, hey, I don't have friends. I don't have community. It's just me and my computer. It's just me and my phone. So I'd be on the internet however amount of hours per day trying to find a community. And I think that's one of the reasons why like we have this weird shift, because other groups of people, they have their community. But with us as Black men, it's more like competition. It's like, oh, well, I'm married, but I can still pull on the side. Oh, I'm single, but I'm making, $300,000, so I'm doing more than you. And it's not like in a space where we can help each other. It's more like, you're my op. Let me get you out the way real quick. Don't add women into the mix, because it'll just make it even worse. Because like, oh, well, my girl's a 3, your girl's a this. It's like it gets very scary, because it's like there's no limit. There's no like, all right, this is my line. This is where the line is going to be drawn. Like you look at rappers, right? They're always talking about, yeah, I got more money than you. I could take your girl and blah blah blah. But they're not taking care of their health. Some of them got kids with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus women,
Mm.
right? Others of them are in 360 deals that they can't get out of. Some of them sold their soul. Others are facing RICO charges. Like,
Mm.
there's no in our community, unfortunately, everything that's bad is always highlighted, and it always reflects on black men, even the quote unquote good black men. And then we always try to like separate it. Oh, that's that person. Oh, that's that person. No, we're all groups at some point. So to me, what it means to really like be a man is, like I said, one of the 4 R's that I mentioned, but also to distinguish between a man and males. Men have community. Males are usually isolated. That's that.
Let me just
Agree.
make a point,
Agree.
and then I'm out. My definition of a man is someone that protects his family, loves his wife, makes sure that the family is good, but also at the same time, a man is a person that has to put up with a lot from the world and his woman, and sometimes for even females out in the street, because sometimes women love to be argumentative or say inflammatory statements and not expect an answer from a man. But when a man answers like, "Yeah, as a man, you shouldn't be speaking like that. You shouldn't talk to me like that." Well, you shouldn't have came at me with the energy that you did. And if you talk as a man and say how you feel, they call you sassy, they call you gay, they say this or that. And I've noticed that it comes from a particular group of women. I don't want to say the color, but all I'm gonna say is this: I'm getting sick of it. Every time a man says something or speaks his feelings, he's sassy. But when you do it, it's no longer a problem. It's like a woman trying to be an alpha male and speak over a man when he's trying to express a point, and then being like, "Oh, you just don't like how I am." No, here's the thing: I'm supposed to lead. You can do what you want, but right now I'm talking. Don't talk over me or disrespect me, because some women feel like they could just go and raise their voice at a man, and he has to listen. No, what I can do is I can go and pack up, cool off, and relax. I don't have to deal with you yelling at me or treating me a certain way. So sometimes,
It's giving insecure.
yeah, as a man, you feel like you have to be silent, because as soon as you walk home or you get home or something happens, all of a sudden, when you say like, "Yo, I just need 5 minutes," all of a sudden she's getting mad, she's talking. The other thing, when you're trying to talk to a female friend and she's asking your advice on the situation, all of a sudden she just keeps on talking. You're like, "Yo, hold up, chill, wait," and you just like, "Oh my goodness," and you got to go to the side and just chill, because it's like, "Yo, you can't get a word in edgewise," you know and it's like, if you came to me for advice, manly advice, I'm gonna try to give it to you, but if you don't want to hear it, I can just go and leave now. But yeah, being a man is stressed out, and I'm not gonna say that women don't deal with their certain stress, but men, I feel like we have to hold things in order to keep peace. Like, well, I'm not gonna say this, or I'm not gonna talk about this. I'll wait until a good time. But here's the thing: when is there ever a good time to talk about anything? Anyway,
Mm.
I'm done. Now let's move on to the next question, which says, "What happens when young boys become men too early and start having children at a young age?"
Um, I had Isaiah at 19 years old, um, and what I gained from it was financial instability for a while, and emotional stress, because my father didn't raise me, so I had to choose to be a father in my son's life, and so because I could have just disappeared. Even my mom said, they're like, "Oh, you just got to pay her money. You could just." I was like, "No, I want to be active." So me choosing to go do that, there were things that were limited to where I tell my son now, like, wait until you get older to have kids. Well, now you got a life to live, stack your bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, you live your life. But when you have a child when you're young, the two biggest things that happen is financial instability, because if you're put on child support, it's a wrap. And then emotional stress, because you're now learning how to be a father. On top of that, let's say you don't have your kid with you, that's a different stress. If you have your woman with you, that's a different story, because again, that's your partner. So she'll make it a lot easier on you. But most of the cases when people are young, they're not really sticking together. And if they are, they stick together for a while and then they break up. You know what I'm saying? So there's still that sense of, I, this child, my child might not get the life that I want him to go get. So now you're trying to navigate a child's life that you don't want them to move the same way that you move. So now that somebody's looking at you, you have to move in a certain way. Like my son knows my situation and what's going on, but he loves me nonetheless. I'm literally his best friend from what he called me. And so because I keep it real with him and tell him what's going on. And so, but that's when he had become a man. When he was younger, I had to hide things and not tell him things. But it was a lot. It was stressful for me when he asked me, "Hey, how come you and mom ain't together? How come that thing ain't worked out? Hey, how come, this situation's happening to you? How come that?" So then there are levels of dishing out information to this young mind who doesn't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know a lot of young guys who, they had their kids and some disappeared, didn't even want to care for their kids. I don't really mess with people like that. But, when I was younger, I was actually the only one in my family who had a kid when I was young. And I was looked at different. Um, Part of my family kind of disowned me until they seen I was still in college. My son was with me. I was working. And so they was like, oh, all right, he's doing his thing. So, I had to dig down deep and go and do 10 times what somebody else is doing, just freely. So my main advice to young men is just, have self control, have sexual self control, like wrap it up, have self control. I know it feels good, have self control because it will get you wrapped up in a situation where you're looking at somebody who you thought you knew. And once they get pregnant and them hormones activate, that's a totally another person. And then on top of that, that's you too. So that's you and somebody who's now being created. So, I just advise just, wrap it up, keep it safe. You're the man. So if he says no with a condom, put that thing on. If he says, or, get a shot of something, do something. But ain't no way you just, if you're slipping because nobody taught you not to slip. You're not really seeing somebody's situation and saying, damn, I know a lot of young guys right now who literally sat there and called me and said, yo, thanks for telling me your stories because I'm not a father. Then they in their late 20s, 30s, and now now they have the life that they can now provide for somebody. So best thing is just wrap it up. But yeah, it's difficult. It's hard. It ain't easy at all. Very difficult. Very,
Trini.
very difficult.
Hey, pull that question up again.
All right, I got you. What happens when young boys become men too early and start having children at a young age?
That can often lead to them growing up and just being wild and disrespectful. Understand, some people think when you have a children, now you can talk reckless. It warrants you talking how you feel like it, even to your parents, even though you're still living under their roof and living in their basement, if that is the case. Just like bro said, you can definitely fall into some financial status because number one, you're still living with your mom, if that more than likely that normally is the case. And your woman decided she didn't want to live with her parents anymore because she was sick of their stuff. So now you guys are just here. No one has any guidance. No one has the proper knowledge of what it takes to just. It's not just having a child. That you're not even talking about the cramps that come along with it and the random her waking up at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning only for you to go ahead and get a slushy. I don't know why on whatever. The different foods and the hormones, and then after the fact that the baby gets here, there's going to be a lot of crying. There's going to be the changing of the diapers, like all of that. Is like you're not responsible for the life of someone else, and you may not be able to bear that weight. And that's why so many fathers are absent. There's like, oh my God, I want a child. This is going to be great. And then the child gets here And depending on the kind of lady that you have, you may be at home and she may be out more, or you'll try to figure out how much money y'all gotta save to get to this apartment or to get to this house. It's a lot. It's a lot. You got the teething, the terrible tooth. There's so much that said young one is going to be unprepared for, and you haven't even lived half your life. What type of any advice can you give to your child? Because you haven't even been taught it all yet. You probably have no father, and here you are trying to be a kid's father. It don't make no sense. That person will. It never turns out right, because if you have no guidance and then said child has no guidance, what are you raising? It's just another nigga, like how they say over here, just another nigga in Wedgwood.
Mm.
You are just another black civilian just waiting to be shot before they turn 30.
You know, and I feel like this point, what I'm about to say, go right up, Gabe's alley. But when you listen to the music from like the 90s, Biggie talking about he got locked up, just trying to feed his daughter, when you see the impact of the criminalization of marijuana on the community of black men, nonviolent crimes, all of that, I feel society really understands the impact that having a father around in the life of his children can have, and the devil does not want that, because you can have a child and the child can be successful. Because I remember there was a girl that I went to high school with. My parents had me, my mother was in her late 20s, my dad was in his late 30s when I was born. So finding out people was born to teen parents, I was like, what? Crazy. One of my classmates, her mom had her when she was 18. I think her dad was like 19. You'd never know. She graduated top of the class in college, going on to do big things, So I think it's a combination of things, because you're in school, you may not be as challenged, teacher, the other grade, he can speak more than I can, but when you look at the statistics and you compare girls and boys in school, how they're taught, how they're talked to, how classes are structured from young, they're talking about what the prison pipeline that where like if there's nothing else for you to do, you're gonna go make some kids. They're not thinking about how much it costs. They're not thinking about. They just know, like, I'm bored and I'm gonna just do this right now. The system got me. And then I talk to folk all the time, and they just, you can't afford to do this. They just gonna do it again. Whether they've seen it happen, whether that's all they around. It's just a cycle. Mom and dad had them young, so that in their mind, there's nothing wrong with this. Somebody the other day, there's a lady, their grandparents our age, guys. Y'all know that. Hey.
Wow.
Grandparents. I'm not talking about grandparents of like little kids. Like 10 years old, like 5. Like them. I'm 32. Lady the other day was mid-30s. Her daughter probably 17, and the baby just got here. And people tell me, why did I wait so long to have kids? Huh? I do got that Chicago accent, but these people out here so
and that's
I keep that.
That's strong, boy. That Chicago accent is strong.
Yo,
again.
See,
the way you said,
y'all notice that I don't sound like you guys, right? But these folks, I feel like you sound like you're from the Bronx. Well, it don't matter where I'm from. That's disrespectful. Don't, no.
Again.
See,
my
yeah,
Twitter.
you threw it off, Ray.
y'all distracted me with the chat, but that's what I wanted to say.
Say my Twitter them.
Right?
All right. Who's that? Ray, did you speak? Did you say anything
Nah,
yet?
not yet.
All
No.
right, go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say that I hear an echo. All right, there should be. I was just gonna say that having kids young, I don't think that would be helpful to a young man if he doesn't have any guidance or support. If you look at certain people like NBA YoungBoy with like 11 kids, or Elephant
Mercy.
Man with 38 kids,
Mm.
you know, wild. But if you don't really have any guidance, you're not gonna really know how to guide your kids. Um, I know a lot of times we say that children are a blessing and a blessing from the Lord, and I agree, but they're a blessing when you have good people behind you and beside you. Having kids, I mean, I just had my first child earlier this year,
Girl,
and
dad. Woo.
yeah, and you guys mentioned you guys mentioned changing diapers, crying, all that good stuff. I'm going
Teething,
through it
all
right
that.
now. Teething, yeah. And yeah, if you don't have good people beside you and like good people around you to help you through that process, it's gonna be tough. And I tell a lot of my young friends that like, hey, you're not just making a baby with this person. You're not dealing with them for 18 years. This is for the rest of your life. Because once you and that person have a child together, that's it. Like, yeah, you can move on, she can move on or whatever, but the child is a result of two people coming together and, engaging in entanglements or whatever you want to call it these days. So my thing is that, I mean, I can see where, to Caroline's point, where, when you have time, you can have sex. But like, what happens after that? Like that's like when you're watching the woman that you have kids with, go through all these things, and like as a man, you're not there. Like me watching my wife go through childbirth, being in the living room and everything. That was I don't ever want to do that again.
That
but
was some scary shit, bro. I was crying.
yeah, I was in the room. I want to see that again. That was
Yeah,
wild.
that definitely got
But
scary.
but I think for like a lot of us, when Caroline mentioned the prison to school pipeline, like that's a real thing, because a lot of us as young men, we're not really seen as human beings per se. We're only just seen as like sex machines or thugs, or put it this way, we're either seen as a future or a Russell Wilson in our community, right? You can be the dope dealer that got all the girls, but then got all the problems behind it, or you can be like the before the 12 kids Nick Cannon, right? Going to school, being a good boy and all that, but not having no real world experience. So having kids at a young age, like you have to be so solidified in that decision, because it's never going to be something that's like a walk in the park, like Carmen said. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be issues, and if you can't handle that, then don't have kids. Don't put yourself in that position to become a father or a baby daddy. Um, don't put yourself in that position to be dealing with somebody who may not respect you in the long run. Don't put yourself in that position to even have the idea of like, oh, I'm not going to raise my child, but another man can do that. No, we don't do that here. So just know that like if you're going to have a child, make sure that like this is the best decision. I mean, obviously the best choice would be in marriage, but the idea that like, hey, I have a child, right? I don't want to get married, but I want to have a child. And I'm gonna say this to all the young women out there: if any male, man, or whatever says that they want to have a baby with you before you get married, that's a dub. Don't ever do that.
Right.
And vice versa goes to all the young men. Like there are women who say, "Oh, I'll have your baby," but they won't get married. We don't do that out here. So
No.
there's that.
Right. Exactly. I agree. At the end of the day, I see a lot of these young men out here. and they're procreating, they're having all these children, but they're creating broken homes. They're going from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's like, I mean, at least learn how to put a condom on or take some other form of care so that you don't get your woman pregnant. But at the end of the day, people say that certain things are not 99.9% effective. I believe that there are things that are preventative in order to avoid pregnancy. But here's the thing: some dudes don't care. They're out here creating broken homes, living with multiple baby mothers, and it's just like, why put yourself through all that and then want to be the same one to be like, yo, she's trying to take me for all of my money? No, she's trying to provide for her child, because it's like, you know, you walking around, you balling, you just bought a new car, like you doing all these different things. Like you got your money and make sure that you straight, but are you seeing your kid on a regular basis? And then we got the regular baby fathers, just the males that hang out in the stoop or around the corner. They smoking, they drinking, they selling drugs, they doing whatever they got to do to get by. But they are still not there for that child in the way that their child needs them. And it's a dangerous game to get women pregnant out here and then blame them for how your life turns out. You're the one that decided to have sex with her. You're the one who decided to get in that bed. Now, let's move to question 3.
Oh, one more
Oh,
thing.
sidebar.
Wait. Because yes. So let me give you some real shit. So yes, I decided to sleep with my baby mama. Condom broke.
God.
So when the condom broke,
Yeah.
so when the condom broke, now what do I say to the person who I didn't want to have a child with? We were just having fun and having sex. Because
Life
your
starts
last
with
statement,
you.
because that's the reason why I'm living who I am with my son. But what I'm saying is that it's not always. Sometimes there's, yes, you live with somebody,
Yeah.
but there's other times where there are accidents where condoms break. You know
Right.
what I'm
Of
saying? Things
course.
like that. So
Yeah.
make sure those are thrown in there,
Yeah.
Nah,
because
I
some
disagree.
dudes are wearing condoms and then the condom break, and then what happens when the condom break?
I,
You
I,
screwed.
I
Now
disagree.
hold on. There's the male plan B
Uh,
also. Well, I know back then it didn't exist. Now they got it, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they
I
got condoms
disagree.
filled with men now.
Hey, pull out game. If once you feel that tinkle and you feel that build up, it is time to leave. That's
Pack
one.
my
And two,
suitcase and I'm out.
and for the younger ones, I gotta say this.
What
For
the
those
fuck?
of us who have had some kind of trauma with their fathers and whatever not being there, don't be so quick to want to prove so-called dad wrong so bad to the point you end up having a child and then you realize what you've done and then you
Here we
screw up
go.
and then you repeat the process. Don't do it
Mm,
to yourself. This is a lifelong decision, and depending on who you with will either make your life somewhat peaceful or a living hell.
I'm living through hell right now. So yeah,
right.
Oh, I got God on my side. God is good all the
All
time.
I'm gonna say
Hey,
is,
I got
all I'm
about
gonna say
Ray,
that.
is,
Ray, I
Just
love
walking
you.
through the valley.
That's all I'm
I'm
saying,
just
bro.
walking through the valley. I'm just walking through the
no.
valley.
I love you, Ray. That's
All
all
I'm
I'm
gonna say is,
saying.
all I'm gonna say is that I tell my wife all the time, life starts with me. All right, if my swimmers ain't swimming, right, in your little pond or whatever it's called, right, you would have never had a baby. So life starts with me.
yes,
That's it.
sir.
All right. So now thank you, gentlemen, for all the and
With
your input.
Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline. Now let's go to question 3. Why do so many men grow up masking their feelings? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but now we're gonna get in depth. So who wants to start first? Because I could go to Upgrade or Trini or Brother Ray. Which one am I gonna pick? All right, I'm gonna go with Trini. Go ahead, brother.
All right. We mask our feelings because, like I said earlier, we are not given the safe space to literally express ourselves because it's giving sassy, it's giving insecure, it's
Where does it
giving
start from?
all of these things. And it's just like, okay, so I can sit here and listen to you babble and get all disgruntled about how someone stole one of your pens as a server. But the moment I come home and say, wow, I just had to deal with this person overdose, and no matter how much ketamine we tried to use to wake this person up, they died on the spot. And by me shedding some kind of tears, all of a sudden, I'm I'm just emotional being, and I don't know how to Oh my God, man up.
You mean Narcan? Because ketamine is a drug for horses.
My bad. Definitely Narcan.
I didn't even catch that.
Listen,
Thank you, Caroline. Ketamine. Whoa. No,
we
I'll just let
deal
him
with,
go on with the story. I just thought he was
we
saving the
deal
horse.
with a lot of
thank you,
meth heads,
Caroline.
crackheads.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline, for real, because
I
that
thought
was
he was
one of
saving
my
the horse. I
points.
just thought he was saving the horse. I guess.
No,
Ketamine.
no. Caroline, I appreciate it. But yeah, so no matter how much Narcan that we use, they never wake up. And it's like, for me to come home and just try to give you just an inkling of what we see, it's either we can't, I don't want to hear it right now. You sound so emotional. You sound like a female. And, honestly, hearing that, not even from your own, it could be from others outside. Women worldwide, whether you black, white, brown, whatever color you are, it is shunned upon for a man to express his feelings. It's always man up, grow up, be a man. You sound like a little boy. I remember back living in Queens, like back in the day, girls who did not know your name, hey boy, yeah you boy, like ma'am, I have a name, like
Yeah.
bro, we're not given the space to actually be like, hey, babe, here's what I'm dealing with, and I need somebody because I have a lot in this head, and I don't want to talk to a shrink. And if you're supposed to be my partner, I'm supposed to be open and communicate with you what's going on, because I don't want that time to happen to where I'm sitting at the dinner table and I'm quiet. You notice that I'm quiet, and you can sense something's wrong, but because I know how you're gonna react, nah, baby, it's fine. You sure you're okay? It's cool. I'm fine. Uh, this shouldn't even be that way. But honestly, the way how the world works, it's kind of necessary. As men, this is where being a man comes into play from the very first question. Sometimes we have to keep it maxed only because it's not for y'all to worry. Y'all worry about enough. Y'all gotta worry about the kids. Y'all gotta worry about getting dinner ready for when your man or whoever comes home. You gotta worry about getting the kids in their schedule together, and then you gotta clean up the floor. Then you gotta mop the floor. But it's like a mother. I've even watched it with my own lady. Women's minds don't stop. Y'all wake up and immediately it's like, okay, babe's got to go to work soon, but I ain't getting breakfast. Okay, I'm gonna get up and get a breakfast. But then on the way to the kitchen, all the toys on the floor. I could have sworn I cleaned it up yesterday. But then I got to go to the fridge, and then y'all think about so much in just 5 minutes alone. Y'all get distracted easily. It's crazy. But suffice to say, y'all worry about enough throughout the day. As men, we gotta carry that. It's a must. Y'all not supposed to worry about going to work, handling the kids, and dealing with bills. It just don't make no sense. It will never make sense. That's why some houses are just not. The black community is just not as peaceful as it used to be. But we have to, because it's not for y'all to worry. It's not. Why are you worrying about what I got going on outside? It's my job to provide and shelter you in protection. It has a lot to do with protection. Sometimes us not saying a word is to protect y'all in the household, because it could potentially brew into a fight. Understand, the devil does not like a peaceful family or a peaceful household. So he will use something as simple as you leaving the onions on the countertop constantly. He will use that to cause a big disarray. It is not the responsibility of a woman to worry about what the outside world is doing if she's already a mom. Leave that to me, baby. It's cool. If I tell you I'm fine, leave it where it's at. We're fine. We have this thing, this white dude, I forgot his name, but he used the nothing box analogy. When men stress out sometimes, we have this box to where we go to, and there's like an imaginary recliner and a beer, and it's ice cold, and we sit there and we watch this nothing. It's just nothing. It's a
Yeah.
stress-free box, and no other boxes touch. It that's our responsibility. That's part of the curses that we got. We have to suck it up. We have to man up. We have to show leadership, because two captains can't steer one boat.
True.
I yield.
All right, Ray, and then Upgrade, and Caroline. So Ray, you up next, brother.
Okay. So can you pull the question back up? I want to make sure I got it right.
Why do so many men grow up masking their feelings?
So I would say that feelings aren't respected, results are. Um,
Mm.
and that no one really cares
Say
about
that again. Say that again
your
for everybody
feelings.
watching.
Oh,
Say that again one
sorry,
more
sorry,
time.
sorry.
Say that again.
I
Say that
said
again.
feelings aren't respected, results are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So results are. So no one really cares about people's feelings like that. I mean, I know it's a new thing to say, oh, your feelings matter, blah blah blah. But realistically speaking, no one really cares about your feelings because they're
Nope.
your feelings. Everybody may not feel the same way that you do. You may be vocal about it amongst other people, but no one is truly caring about people's feelings like that. I know that we talk about it in like a relationship aspect, but I'm thinking more of like in a general sense. Like when you go to work, it's really just do your job, do what needs to get done so you can get your money and pay your bills and take care of what you need to take care of, right?
Exactly.
When you're out in the world, everyone has their own feelings about what's going on with them because that's what matters to them, right? Like you may stop and say, "Hey, how you doing?" to somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm fine" or whatever. But deep down inside, like they have things that they're thinking about or things that they may be going through. But because no one's actually going to take the time out to listen and care, that's why feelings are never truly respected. Now, as far as men not expressing their feelings in a deeper sense, I want to say that because we're not in a space to do so, not really amongst women, but amongst ourselves. I think a lot of times, like, we depend way too much on women for emotional support. And granted, yes, in a relationship setting, I get it. But from one man to another man, I think it's easier because men can relate to men in other aspects that women can't relate to men on. Just like women can relate to women in aspects that men can never relate to women on.
Yep.
I think men in general don't respect other men's feelings because it's like, oh, you need. I think the problem that I have is that, and I don't know if Caroline may agree to this, but the problem that I have is that men are speaking for women on behalf of other men, right? So what I mean by that is men will say, "Oh, women don't respect feelings and blah blah blah." But when you have the conversation with men, it's men that don't respect other men's feelings. It's men that are pushing out things saying, "Oh, that's gay. You have feelings, that's gay. Man up and blah blah blah." Because
Mm.
truthfully, I've heard women say tell men to man up, but I've heard other men tell other men to man up. I've heard women call men out of their names, but I've heard more men call other men bitches than women have, right? And that's the other side that we don't talk about at all. And
Yeah,
I
that
think to me, it's gotten to a point where it's like, all right, as men, we got to stop lying. We have to stop lying to each other. We got to stop lying to women and making it seem like it's all the women's fault. Because a lot of times it's not. Like when you hear women say, "Oh, that's sassy" and blah blah blah. But where does that derive from? That derives from men. When you think about it, men were calling other men gay for showing feelings. Men were calling other men gay for being expressive and alternative and all this other stuff. It was men doing all that, not women. Women only were a byproduct of that afterwards. Because in our community, we always say, men lead, women follow. So what men are doing to other men, women will follow at some point. If men don't respect other men, women are definitely not going to respect men. And there's always going to be a hierarchy. And who created that? Men. So to answer the question, uh, we don't have that safe space, and men don't respect other men's feelings. And I yield.
Mm. All right. Caroline,
Okay.
was it you, brother?
Always got spunk.
Hold on, who was the next that was supposed to go after Ray? Was it you or Caroline?
I don't. I don't remember.
All right, so Caroline, go ahead. Oh, nah, it was you. Go ahead, brother. Oh no, it was Caroline. All right, go ahead. My fault. Will we put the question up again?
Yes, yes.
Why do so many men grow up masking their feelings?
I feel, to piggyback off of what Brother Ray said, I could just remember being in school, especially growing up in New York City, boys were not kind to other boys. And in turn, the girls kind of picked up that same behavior, and you got older, everything was a pause movement and that's gay, anytime a boy cried, it was like, we don't do that here, or anytime he showed affection or received affection, it got to a point where you didn't parents would drop their kids off and like, get off me. To the point now in 2024, when we see pictures of like generations of men, let's say for example, great grandfather, grandfather, father, and son, all like hugging or showing affection, people like, this is amazing. And it's like people do this all the time. But because we're not like pushing that message forward, people think it's it's strange. And so if a boy is born, the only time he's allowed to cry is when he's born. As he gets older, he's told, don't cry, don't do that, stop. So he internalizes those messages. I've seen it working and living with older boys. The only emotion that men are allowed to feel is anger. You want him, for some reason, like you talking about women and dating, Brother Trini. Women don't seem to want a guy. They say that, but they don't want somebody who's in tune or emotionally intelligent. They want somebody who's gonna, have angry sex with them, argue back with them when they're upset. They not wanting that whatever they was talking about back in the day, that slow motion. No, they want that throw me up against the wall, grab my neck, and I'm sitting here like, baby, that's borderline assault. Anyway, but then when you sit around and look at women who raise boys by themselves, their tendency to I'm not gonna play with you, Ray. They don't have balance in how they express their emotions. They're just overly emotional about everything. So I think the problem in this respect is where men aren't taught to identify their feelings. Is that sadness? Is this anger? Is this frustration? Is this helplessness, hopelessness, excitement, overwhelmed? Those are different emotions that people can experience, but when you're only paid attention to when you're angry, busting somebody in the face, busting somebody upside the head, putting a hole in the wall, versus like, oh, you crying? I'm gonna give you something to cry for. Go to your room. I don't feel like hearing that. All of that becomes, and then when a man explodes or leans towards violence, it's like, oh, what's wrong with you? You should have been got help for this. Where? Where he can get help for that? And it has really been an interesting experience. My son is going to be 3 on his next birthday. My husband and I really talk back and forth because one thing he said to me was, Caroline, do you like the man that I am? Of course. Do you think that my parents did a good job raising me? Of course. So why do you stop me from trying to discipline my son? Oh, so that's what we're doing. Okay. And we've had several conversations after the fact, and because I'm not trying to have my child grow up in an environment where there was no conversation. It was like, you mess up, here's the belt. You crying, stop it. And so my husband and I have had conversations like, I don't want my children to be whooped like how I was. Like, we finna just stop the car and snatch you upside your head, or like get the belt, because they don't need all of that. I'm not saying that there won't be times to warn it, but not everything has to be there. If you drop some on the floor, just clean it up. We're not about to knock your head between the washer and the dryer because you just clean it up. But what I did express to my husband was I want that praise, that affirmation to be as loud as the discipline. Where your son, oh yeah, that's my daughter. She dragged something across the floor. I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like banging. That's her on the floor. She probably dragging her brother's shoes. But you want the affirmation to be as loud as the discipline. Men usually come in the lives of their children and they're seen as the unfun, the disciplinarian. There's no balance. So when you have a dad who's around, a man in your life who also knows how to have fun, who can identify safely his emotions, it makes the people around him more comfortable interacting with him in his different states. If you don't know how to identify your emotions, then me as the woman, I cannot help you do that. If you coming in from outside, officer, and you don't know how that experience on the job made you feel, baby, I can't help you. Baby girl can't help you identify how interacting with somebody who was close to overdose and the Narcan don't work. She wasn't there. She went in the training room. She don't know what they tell you in the midst of all of that. You know what I'm saying? She don't know. So if you don't know what you're dealing with, I can't help you. And I'm also not your therapist. So
interesting.
I will send you to
interesting.
women we have a lot to, even me, after 11 years of marriage, I also still do have work to do, right? But it's no one's responsibility other than your own to manage your emotion. And after a point, it's no longer your parents' fault. As my grandma used to say, you reach an age of accountability. At a certain point, you got to read a book, talk to a friend, talk to the pastor, get you a therapist. At some point, your emotional connection and intelligence becomes your responsibility and obligation. I just don't want my son to be on somebody's couch talking about, I don't know if I'm sad. I just don't want that. But then also, not just on a societal level, we can also talk about culture. Because in a West Indian culture, men aren't really in touch with they emotional side. It's like my way of showing love is to work to the bone. So Ryan, when's the last time you told your kids I love you?
Every day, every night, I get FaceTime calls and let them know I love them.
What about you to upgrade? You be calling your kids?
Yeah, I call my kids all the time.
And tell them you love them?
FaceTime and all. Yeah. Why would I not?
Don't be happy. We show brother Ray out here doing what he do because we got started. So high five.
Wow.
A lot of the kids that I've worked with, I know there's more than 3 minutes, but you can't fire me. So they can have that. So, you know, when you talk about why they grow up masking their emotions, they talk that it's a weakness. But when you empower young men to identify their feelings and like there's nothing wrong with being angry, nothing wrong with being sad, nothing being feeling frustrated. You're human. It happens. I can't intervene on your behalf or advocate for what you need as far as your feelings if you don't know what you're feeling. Okay.
The doctors in the house.
All right. On that point, drop the mic. My little man and little baby girl got to go to bed. But I appreciate y'all. This has been very informative. I know who to call when it's time to, I appreciate y'all.
We love you, Caroline.
Love you too.
Love y'all. Love you.
Later, my Chicago sister. Chirac.
Chirac. Stupid.
All right, so upgrade.
I think that it starts with parents.
Okay.
Starts with parents, and so you have, and Caroline talked about a balance. So in a household of two parents who are who they're supposed to be, you'll have a balance of both, where you'll have the mother who's the nurturer and the father who's the one that's like, I just go get a Band-Aid. Both of those are needed. Both of them are needed. When one is absent, you have a lot of these guys right now who are mostly in their emotions because all they've seen their mother was their emotions. Father's not home. So father can't regulate and say, hey, listen, it's okay to cry, but hey, listen, we're not crying outside in front of 300 million people.
Mm.
There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Go to the car. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to cry. There's a difference of you felt, because what ends up happening is that when you look at how most kids are raised in the household, and definitely without a father, all they're doing is just watching how mom interacts with people, how mom interacts with them. If as the boy gets older, as soon as he says something and she feels like it's out of pocket, oh, you disrespected me. And so now she's not even, she's talking to her son, but she's more talking to her son husband, because it's not a boy anymore to her. Now that he's talking to her in a certain way, oh, now this is, you're acting like a man, but aren't you treating me like one though? You're asking me to do certain things like one, but then I can't now talk like one. And then when I do, now I'm sheltered and blocked off. So now a lot of guys, when they get older, they relate that to the women that they meet. So because now they're seeing their women as the epitome of how all other women are, instead of separating. So it's like, well, I got to treat them because my mother told me to treat all women like this. No, a hoe's a hoe. Treat her like such. Accountability. A bum is a bum. Treat them like such. You know what I'm saying? You can't, because then if you do that to everybody and everywhere, there's no levels or boundaries to who you are and what you're going to do. Anybody can sit there and fool you. You can sit there and be like, all right, I'm going to take the hoe who had 5 kids by 5 different baby daddies. She got her videos everywhere online, but now that's my woman. Everybody looking at you like you're a fool. And she even look at you like you're a fool because how come the other 5 didn't do what you did? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a sense of it comes from a childhood. Now, mind you, as we get older, yes, we get into the accountability age. But if you don't even know what accountability is, how do you then become accountable? You have a lot of people saying, okay, let's rush to the therapist, which, I agree, people should go to therapists. Some, not all, but many who go to the therapist, what their therapist say. Be you, express your emotions, express your feelings, express who you are. And then in a sense, you have everybody doing that as such, where everybody's everything. It's okay. Do what you want to go do. Do what you want to go do. Because now it's at a point where everybody's expressing just how we've gotten so sensitive that you can't even say something to somebody. Back in the day, we used to have your mama jokes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had bullies. You see, bullies are necessary. Bullies are necessary, but if everybody, oh, my feelings got hurt because because I said what? Because I said that your shirt purple when it's blue, and you don't feel that your shirt's purple today? Get out of here. We're not doing that today. Everybody's not in their feelings as opposed, and mind you, it's okay to have your feelings. It's okay to have emotions. It's called regulation.
Mm.
Even what Ray said, it goes back to either being a realist. What was the other 3? Because I like the realist the best.
So it was realist, it was responsible, it was reliable, and resourceful.
Okay. Now, when you look at all those 3 with men and their emotions, they're in their emotions because many of them right now, they're not resourceful. What jobs they getting? So now they're going to go outside on the street and do whatever they got to go do. Hey, beat your song, do what you got to go do. Many of them are not reliable. They're not reliable to themselves. They're not reliable to their kids. They're not reliable at work. And then on top of that, nobody ever taught them any better. Because guess what? Most of our parents, all they're really doing is they're on survival mode. We're not in a society that thrives for the parents to be like, hey, let me go teach the kids what I didn't know. Everybody's on survival mode. You then come out of that survival mode as a parent and be like, hey, listen, I don't want to teach my kids that. So, hey, let me tell you what I did when I was younger, or, these are the things you need to work out and watch out for. Parents can't do that today because too many parents, they're sitting there, they go to work, they're working 2-3 jobs, they come home, they go to sleep. The school teaches them and sees them more than their own parents do. The YouTube is watching them more than their own parents do. So when these boys are sitting there and just saying, hey, just go off your emotions without learning how to regulate them. But if you just going off emotions and not regulating them, you can't get nothing done. If I'm crying all day, what can I accomplish? What resource can I build if I'm crying all day about my emotions and I'm sad because somebody hurt my feelings yesterday? Sometimes you got to be like, hey, listen, You have to, sometimes as men, you have to use that anger to go and do the thing that you need to go do. But it's a process because nobody can tell you about it. Your father could, people can tell you all they want. Your father could go and tell you, your mama could go and tell you. You gonna have to go into the valley yourself. Because guess who puts everybody in the valley? God does. So when the Most High put everybody in the valley, everybody get in the valley, everybody go in there. Some people have help, some people got other people digging for them, but you have many who don't got nobody there. And then on top of that, they just got their feelings. So they're, God, how come you got me doing this? And I don't want to do this no more. You stuck in the forest. You stuck in the valley. So most people are stuck in the valley crying all day about their feelings, and you got the men going up in the mountain doing things.
Mm.
Because nobody has taught them, hey, regulate your emotions. Hey, it's okay to cry, but again, we're not crying right here. It's okay to talk, but again, think about what was just said. So we talked about how women want communication. Then in the same breath, Caroline goes and says, oh, I'm not your therapist. So who do you want? Who do I need to talk to? Who am I talking to? Don't ask me any questions. Don't ask me nothing. Because my therapist is going to ask me all those questions. You understand? So now it comes to, okay, let me go call my boys and let me go talk to my boys about it. Let me go have my work friends or whatever to go talk about it. And then women get mad at, oh, how come you don't share things with me? Because other men who have been through things with me, or because we're men, we can share the same, we can express our emotions differently. And we express them differently anyway. We're not like women where we're emotional all the time anyway. We'll laugh about some crazy shit. And mind you, it could be something crazy like, yeah, like I remember I saw a post online. A dude said, "Yo, hey, would you guys come to my funeral?" They were playing Call of Duty. Dude was like, "You gonna come to my funeral?" And all of a sudden, it went left, and the dude was like, "Nah." So all of a sudden, everybody started laughing. The one dude was like, "Nah, I'll show up there late." So everybody started laughing. But at the end of the video, the first thing it said was, and when the video ended, first thing it said was, is that even though we'll talk about it, we'll talk about like not showing up, I would die for you. If you my bro, I'm dying for you. That's just us, that's just our off way of not being too emotional about you really dying. Think about it. I don't really want you to picture you dying, so be like, nah. Then we all start laughing about it and stuff, and we'll start cracking jokes about it. But at the end of the day, we all know, that's my bro. I'm dying for Trini. I'm dying for Ray. I'm dying for Greg. You know what I'm saying? I'm dying. That's different. Right now, too many people in their emotions because society is so safe as well. Society is so safe that you just frolicking. Nobody's going hunting for food. Nobody's going building shelters. Nobody's fortifying and understanding patience through what they built. It's more like, nope, it's here. It's built. It's here. My feelings are satisfied. So when you're more in your feelings and don't know how to regulate it, yeah, you're gonna be in a society where boys don't know how to regulate it. So now when you're emotionally intelligent and you're a man who knows how to regulate it, oh, a lot of women don't even know how to handle you. Oh, that's when it comes to, oh, you're too sassy and all that. Okay, I'll be sassy. But guess what? You're not gonna play me though. Goodbye. See you later and deuce. And most of the women come right back to you. Oh no, I'm just playing. Oh no, you know what? I respect you. Oh no, blah 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 blah. Because they're just trying to test and see your resolve and see who you are as a man. And some women will use that. They will use that whole. They will use your emotions and your weakness and stuff against you. So why even do that? Why play yourself? Why know that? Why if you know the game? Why play yourself? Why if you know? Okay, some women, not all women. So again, if you're married to a woman who doesn't do this, that's a whole different other story. Some women will sit there, you know what I'm saying? You'll sit there and say, you know, this happened to me. And when you're in an argument or something, bam, throw it out like a trump card. Here you go, bam. Oh, this happened to you, that happened to you. Men don't do that. So sometimes you really have to understand, okay, sometimes it's not okay for me to go and speak up my emotions. It's just we have to learn how to regulate them and talk to one another and say, hey, listen, bro, you might be crashing out. You might need to try, meditation. You might need to go pray. You might need to, read somebody else's story and figure out how Samson did it and why Samson done messed up. And you in the same boat as Samson or David or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's why men are so important to each other. But just like Ray said, when there's no community and we don't have one as men, then, you know what I'm saying? Like you're all over the place. Out here in Atlanta, I have a place where I go to where there's a bunch of men that we sit there, we talk, we smoke, we chill, we relax. but the energy is needed. Where sometimes we can sit there and say, "Hey, listen, bro, I'm going through this," and we right there just going in it and we talking, and that's the thing that's needed. And so I think as men, you just need to find your groups of men who are solid and down and who gonna ride with you. You don't have to have 10, you just need to have a few. And that's it. And then learn how to talk between those men, because if there's one wise man in that group, he's gonna teach you how to talk to women. If you don't know how to teach you, he's gonna teach you, hey, listen, in order for you to learn how to not be in your house and act like you tippy toeing, here's how you have to set the rules from jump. Hey, listen, just yeah, hey, listen, I'm the man. Life starts with me, just like Ray said. So ain't nothing being said or done after this. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? If when you set things up from the beginning, you'll be straight. When you allow things to happen and she's pushing buttons, and now you explode later on, yeah, your emotions all over the place. Because you allowed her to get there by not saying nothing. Allowing her to do, say, feel whatever she wants to go feel, and now you express it. Now the first time, just be like, hey, listen, I don't like the way you spoke to me, and that's it. Hey, but that's it. I don't even want to talk about it because I'm done with it. I'm just telling you how I feel. I'm not even mad or upset at the moment. I was mad at that moment. Call it a day. You learn how to regulate it. I'm telling you, relationships go a mile and a dozen. You ain't got to come in the house all day. Oh, shut the fuck up, bitch. You ain't got to go do that. Once in a blue moon, it might be needed. But you ain't got to be walking in the house every single minute, just kicking on the door. Shut up, bitch. You ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's not happening. But I'm telling you, I'll give you a true story. No lie. This is crazy. And then I'm done. So I'm sitting at I'm at the hotel. I'm sitting there chilling, and it was a couple. There was a dude and a girl and her son. Now the son belongs to the girl, not the dude. So we're sitting there. We having conversations about relationships and stuff. And then Shorty goes. This is the first thing she says. She says, "Hey, I don't want to be disrespectful." She's talking to her boyfriend. Obviously, you're about to be disrespectful. So then she goes, "Hey, so like she looks at me and she goes, 'Hey, would you date me?' What?" I said, you know what? Whatever I said, whatever this dude decides to pick, that's on you. I said, I'm done. So then as we're still talking, I told him, I was like, sometimes when she gets upset or she gets aggravated, she wants to hear you say, just be quiet or shut up. Or shut the fuck up. No lie. When I said it, she had like this smirk on her face. On some like, she just got satisfied or some shit. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you see the faces she's making? She wants you sometimes to say it. You're not saying it, so she's gonna walk all over you. Then you get up in her face, oh, I'm a man, and I'm a man, and you don't talk to me like that. It never had to get there, bro. It never had to get there. You could have just said, shut up, sit down. I'm not even like me, you know what I do now? I don't even say shut up anymore. I don't even say shut up anymore. You know what I say now? I say I disengage. Yep, I disengage. I'm gone. I disengage from this whole thing. And so my emotions are done. Everything is done with me. I disengage from this. And so that way, whatever feelings you're feeling, that's on you. It has nothing to do with me. When you calm down, we can have a conversation. Until then, I disengage. That's how, because feelings are feelings. Nobody really cares. Just like Ray said, nobody really cares. And you got it. And once you understand it as a man, you'll become way better. When you don't, you think everybody cares about your feelings, bro, you screwed. Screwed.
All right. Wow, that definitely was a lot. All right, so this
Shut
is
up.
going. I hope
Like Ray and Trinity wasn't a lot. As soon as you get to me, shut up.
you see, he just did it just now. Anyway, let's move on to the last.
He said, wow, that definitely was a lot.
I hate it's so good, bro. No, I'm just
But you
saying,
know what's
like,
facts? No, don't play it. Don't play it.
nah, yo, we said for like a good like 10 minutes, bro. So you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It was a lot. I mean, I know they gave perspective, but when you give a perspective, your stuff goes wild. Like you see how the way me and Trini was cracking up. That's all I'm saying. Like you speaking real, so yeah, I mean, it was the comedic side of it. Now,
That's rich.
And that's the only reason why it goes long, because I make people laugh. You know?
say something. This was supposed to be question 9, but we gonna make it into question 4 instead. You know what I mean? Because we gotta wrap this up. So now the final question: how is manhood viewed from a biblical perspective?
Whoa.
Didn't Caroline touch on that though?
She did she?
She touched on that. Yeah, that's how she started it. She started it with the perspectives of she said how a man who prays, a man who's financially stable, a man who's a leader, a man who's accountable, um, um, someone who she said one other thing. I forgot the other thing. But yeah, that's how she started it off. But yeah,
Okay.
but anyway, but to add on to that,
Hmm.
um, someone who takes the lessons from the men of the Bible and learns how to regulate their emotions. Because again, all those stories are stories that we're going through today. How many Delilahs you see? How many Bathshebas we got out here? You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't out here not doing the same things over and over again. Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that these are principles that people can use in order to become a man. You know, and you see many men who have used them. Some have used them and abused them in certain ways, unfortunately. But those who are upright and those who are really righteous for saying the Most High, so you see how they move. They have a light already to them. When people see them, men are like, Dad, I see that light in you. Yeah, praise the Most High. Call it a day. So the manhood, when people see the leadership that you have, the successes, when people see the even in the midst of your valley, how you're still praising the Most High, how you're still moving in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? That biblically defines how you move. I don't have any scriptures on me because I ain't got my Bible on me, but yeah, that's it. See, I made it shorter.
Yeah. All right. So then, brother Ray,
Bang bang.
we'll wrap up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So so Ray, go ahead, brother, and then Trini.
Um, I'll make it short. Just to add to Carlin's point, I would say that like a lot of the men in the Bible, they had to learn humbleness. If you think of people like Samson, for example, like he went through his valley and he went through all the trials and tribulations, but he was forced to be humble at the end. Like even though he didn't get to make it to the other side, he pretty much asked God for the last bit of strength to deliver him from the situation that he was going through. I mean, he got his eyes gorged out, which is terrible. But outside of that, like he was kind of forced to be humble. When you think about people like Moses, he
And
wasn't
what
able
led
to make it to the promised land. Huh?
to his downfall? But go ahead, continue, continue, continue.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
You
pride.
know, you know.
That's
Anyway,
part of it. But you
um,
guys, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
when you think of people like Moses, he got so angry he struck the rock, and he was regretful that he didn't get a chance to go to the promised land, but it forced him to be humble. When you think of David, the mistake that he made, when you think of Solomon, like all these great men, like they went through a lot at the end to have to be humble. And I think that's one of the great makings of a man is humbleness. I forgot to add that as well. Um, and just being able to like recognize, hey, I made a mistake. Now I have to lay in my bed and I have to be humble now and just accept whatever consequences come with it. So that's it.
All right. So then Trini, and then I'll say my piece.
Pull
Go
that
ahead,
question
Trini.
up one more time for me.
All right. It
Oh,
says, how is manhood viewed from a biblical perspective?
how was it viewed? Honestly, I would say it ain't viewed enough because the Bible, things in the past were written for our learning. So if we have all the tools and all the answers, and we've seen how great these men were and how some of them came to the most crazy downfall, why haven't we learned nothing? What did we miss? So honestly, to land back off of both of them, it's really important to be rooted in the Most High because, just like Bro said, every last one of them, they got it out the mud and they were ultimately blessed. Somehow along the way, they got distracted, they got prideful, and just like Ray said, they were forced to be humble. How about let's all come together? Let's, I wouldn't say let's fix one another, but let's help each other up. That way we don't repeat the process. Because just like those great men fell, we're not excluded as well. You can have a good job. I could be the best cop in the world. I can have the best guns and everything. But there's a saying that we say in the department: just because you're first on scene, it can ultimately mean you're the first one shot and killed. So again, we don't learn, and it's unfortunate that I have to say it, but we don't, because we saw what happened to Solomon, we saw what happened to Moses, and
Mm.
we may go, "Dag, that's messed up, bro. Couldn't even enter the promised land." But again, didn't your father give you a specific instruction, and because you got angry and misplaced that emotion, that was the consequence? It so happens that the Most High didn't give you the consequence beforehand. Otherwise, you probably would have thought twice.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? So, hey, man, remember the Most High in all things. Lose that pride, because ultimately,
Hello? J- Oh no.
He froze. The way he did it don't look funny though.
We going away from the. Restart your phone or something. All right, so he's gonna come back in. Um, we just gonna wait, give him a few minutes, but okay, he's back.
I bet somebody called me on FaceTime. But
Oh,
so just
it's
suffice to
all right.
say, just to finish it off, keep the Most High in life. Learn from those in the past. Try not to emulate. As a matter of fact, demonstrate the man and the leader that you want in your household. Instead of asking her to be your piece, how about you be your piece and see how well things will happen? So that being said, I yield the floor. It's all yours, Doc.
All right. Um, as I look at manhood from a biblical perspective, I see a lot of men who made mistakes, but I also see some men that were wise, right? Um, I look at the situation with Lot and how he didn't leave fast enough, and how his wife turned into a pillar of salt because she was disobedient. He kept on trying to beg God, like, if you can find at least X amount of people to spare in the city, almost like he was trying to buy time in a way, right? And then look at what happened at the end. Sometimes when God gives a warning, it's like we almost want to test him. It's like when your parent tells you, don't do this. Oh, why can I do it? Don't do it. Don't touch the stove. Don't do this. Then what happens when you touch the stove and it's hot? You get burned. Now you got to go get some butter or something else to make sure you're good after that. But then I look at the prodigal son and how that father executed his wisdom. When his son came back, he didn't say like, "Oh, I told you so. I told you X, Y, Z was going to happen." He didn't tell him none of that. As a matter of fact, he just gave him his inheritance. But when he came back, he was like, "Yo, I'm glad that you're back home." And I also believe that it was the Holy Spirit that led that young man to come back home. Because here's the thing: we could be young and stupid and think, "Yo, we're gonna make it on our own. We're gonna be better than our fathers or our grandfathers." We have this mentality in mind. But here's the thing, right? Instead of trying to prove somebody wrong, why don't you work on who you are as a man so that you
Hmm.
don't pass on those same negative behaviors that you saw in your fathers and grandfathers and uncles onto your male children when you have them? You know, learn how to eradicate it from the beginning and cut all that out, even before you think about pursuing a wife or even getting into a relationship. Because the fact of the matter is that the type of man that you present yourself as in the beginning is not always going to be the man that you are when you have children, when things are different. Because now you're faced with real problems. Before it gets to that point, deal with the issues beforehand that you have internally. Go see a psychiatrist, get the help you need. Go sit with a therapist and talk on the couch. And the other thing, I want to wrap this up with what Caroline was saying. One of the things I realized is that there's no problem with telling your spouse, your partner, like, yo, this is the day that I had. But there is an issue when there's other stuff that you say that is trauma, right? And then after that, now that's like, I feel like that's transferred on to that person. They end up becoming an empath and they feel your feelings, and then it's hard for they themselves to deal with what they got to deal with. They don't even feel like talking to you because they feel like you've drained the life out of them with all of your issues. I remember probably about maybe uh 10, 11 years ago, I had a friend like that where we had just met and she just started spewing out all of this stuff with the males in her life. So much to the point that it started to mess with our friendship. And at a certain point, I got depressed over it because it's like, yo, like, I can't do nothing. I don't even feel good in this moment because I want to talk to you, but I can't because of the way that making me feel. You've told me all of this stuff. And I understand as a man, I'm not supposed to express anything, but inside it was killing me to deal with it. Still to this day, I never really told her, like, yo, you did a lot when you dumped your trauma on me, and you never even got it worked out or dealt with it. So nothing wrong with talking to a partner, but if it comes to a point where what you're saying or doing becomes too much, that's when you need to seek a therapist, because there's only so much that your wife can take. As a man, there's no problem with you expressing your feelings, but just understand that at a certain point, there's only so much that she can deal with, and there's a ceiling. Once you hit that ceiling, that's it. You can't go past it. You can't go around it. Um, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight for Complexities of Manhood in Modern Society on the Meeting of the Minds podcast. Once again, I want to thank my group of panelists, The Upgrade, Trini, Brother Ray, and Caroline. We will be back next month. I hope that this helped somebody out there. I hope that there was a young man watching, or father or uncle, anybody that was dealing with something, and that this program opened up your eyes a little bit. Anyway, we got to go. Next month, we'll be back. Y'all take care. Peace.